Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We're here on another edition of Wowza Live with a very good friend and incredible swimmer, writer, screenwriter, you name it, Becca Mann. She's currently holed up in Chicago, Illinois. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well despite, coronavirus.
Yes, yeah, well, that's
But
good.
keeping busy, writing a lot, and
Uh,
making sure that I don't get too bored.
yes. And writing, what are you focusing on now?
Well, since I have so much spare time, I've just like been filling it with everything. So I'm writing another novel. I just started. I'm a few pages into it. I spent a lot of time outlining it, but some of my screenwriting friends and I decided that like we wanted to write novels for the summer since we're all cooped up. So
Got it.
we have like a little writers group and we're doing that. And then I'm writing a TV pilot, an hour-long TV pilot on my own, and then I'm writing another one with another friend of mine. So really just
Wow.
staying busy and having a lot of Zoom writers groups. So
Yeah.
it's actually a good time, despite
Yeah.
like I'm making the most of it.
Yeah, that's good. And just to remind the audience, you're a student at USC,
Yes,
focusing on what is your major? What do you want to
screenwriting,
screenwriting?
and I'm a rising senior.
Yes. Okay, great,
Yeah,
great. And we haven't even touched upon your swimming. And just give us a little taste of what you've been doing both in the open water and the pool.
yeah. Well, just since quarantine, I've actually been pelotoning a lot with
Okay.
Ashley Twitchell.
Okay.
We have a little Peloton group where some days, like there was one day where we did a 4-hour Peloton, which was just insane.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun because like we see each other on the video and we get to watch the stats, so we
Yeah.
get really competitive. Actually, I'm the only one who gets really competitive. She's just like doing her own thing, and
Yeah.
I'm watching her stats. I'm like, oh, she turned up her resistance 1 point. I better turn mine up 2 points.
Got it. Got it.
She's been feeding me a lot on it.
Uh,
Yeah, so just some cross training like that, and
yeah. But you've
yeah.
been to two Olympic trials, is that correct?
What was that?
You've been to two Olympic trials in your career, or
Yes,
three?
20 for in the pool. It was 2012 and 2016, and then for open water, I went to Worlds in 2015. Didn't get top 10, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I don't know if that counts as two or three.
yeah. It does. And then, where have you been around the world on your open water ventures? Just
Oh, so
give us.
many places. I have this app where I like count all the countries that I've been to, and
Uh,
30 plus countries. So
wow.
I know I'm so grateful for that. That's like I'm really missing traveling right now. I haven't traveled. I haven't been out of the country since August, and I'm just like feeling the itch. Of course, when everything's shut down.
Yes. Now, remind everybody, you're only 20 years, 21 years old?
22.
22. Okay. So
Yeah, I'm
you've
old
been to
now.
you've been over to 30 countries, you've been to world championships, you've been to all kinds of international competitions. Can you pick two or three places that have been your favorite competition or just visiting wise?
Well, I think my favorite competition was 2013 Barcelona Worlds because that was like my first World Championships,
Got it.
and I remember I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing, and everyone like mentored me, and it was just like such a great time. And I remember like just feeling so grateful that I was there. And like
Got it.
I swam really well too, and like it was my first big international open water competition.
Got it.
So I remember that was just amazing, and I also love Barcelona, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that was really great time. And I don't know. I love Thailand. I
Okay.
had a really great time when I was there. I love Italy. I don't know. There are so many places. Like I haven't been to Croatia yet, but I really want to go there.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love traveling. I love seeing the world.
Yes. And one of the places you visited on your world travels has been the state of Hawaii. And
Yes, Hawaii is like my second home.
yes,
I
and
love
you've
Hawaii.
actually crossed the Maui Channel when you were like
10.
10,
Yes.
10 years old. Wow. Do you remember how old you were when you crossed?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what your time was? Sorry.
That was 6 hours, 26 minutes, and 46 seconds.
Oh my God. So 10 years old, you
Yes.
jump off the shores of Lanai, you swim to Maui, and it's over 6 hours.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
and the saddest part is that so when I did the Maui Nui
Yeah.
in August, my Lanai to Maui was slower than my 10-year-old time.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how much I was struggling.
Wow. Well, the Maui Nui is really a crown jewel in the global open water swimming world. I mean, it's just for people who don't know what the Maui Nui is. It's a course between three islands in Hawaii. And can you describe the course to us, Becca?
Yes. So it's between Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and then Maui again. And well, I started on Maui. You can technically start on any of the islands.
Yes.
And yeah, the first one was, so Maui to Molokai was about 15 kilometers. And then the course that I took from Molokai to Lanai was 26 kilometers. And then the course from from Lanai to Maui was another 15 kilometers.
Wow. Wait, let's dial back a little bit. And where did this idea come from? What prompted you to say, hey, I'm training for the 1500 freestyle or the 10K swim, and now I want to do a 57-kilometer swim? I mean, that's a big jump.
Yeah, well, it's always kind of been in the back of my mind, just because
Okay.
since like doing like a crazy channel swim, not that one necessarily, but I loved that channel swim that I did when I was 10. It was such an amazing time, and like despite the pain and like all of the like how difficult it was an amazing experience, and I knew that I wanted to do something like that again. So I know that like on so many of my national team trips, when I would like be with my national team athlete friends, a lot of us would talk about like the open water team. We'd talk about doing long swims, and so many of them were like violently opposed to that. They're like, I'm never doing anything over 10K. I hate the 25K. And I would always sit there and I'd be like, I don't know. I feel like I would do a 60K swim. Like, I think that sounds kind of fun. Or like different channel crossings, and they'd be like, Becca, you're just saying that like for attention or whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I actually would want to do that. And like, they tease me.
Yeah.
And so like, it was always kind of in the back of my mind, but there was never really a moment that presented itself. Until this summer. I was at the Olympic Training Center. I was training with Ashley Twitchell, and we were in between our morning practice and our afternoon practice, and I like just had the itch for an adventure. I like get this itch. It's like the traveling thing, where I just like really want to do something crazy, and I feel like I need to like accomplish something. So I was like, I need to email Steve Munatones. Yeah. So I told you about it. I'm like, I really need to do a crazy swim that either hasn't been done before, that like I could get a record in, or that like would really just challenge me and satiate this desire that I have to do a crazy adventure. And then you emailed me back, like I think within the hour, and for like the Maui Nui, this is the perfect thing for you. And as I read your email, I was like, this is like, I have such a connection to Hawaii with like the Maui channel. Right. And Hawaii just in general. Like, I feel like it's my future home. Like, my soul belongs there. So I was like, yes, this is right. Like, I need to do this. And then from there, I just like started assembling the team with your help. And then 3 months later, I was in the water.
Yeah, unbelievable. And one of those people along the way was a International Marathon Swimming Hall of Famer, Harry Huffaker.
Yes.
How did he play a role in all of this?
Well, he attempted the swim, I think, was it in the 80s?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, back in the 80s. And he's I think he's in his 80s now, and he has done so many of those Hawaiian swims. Was he the first person to go from the Big Island to Maui? Yes. Yes. He's incredible. He has such like an adventurous spirit, and he gave me this big binder that's like this thick. I have it somewhere around here. I need to send it back to him. Of like all of the things that all of his preparation, everything that like all the money that he raised, just on his Maui Nui swim. So he was so helpful. He shared all of his tips with me. He didn't end up completing the swim just because of different currents and like the way that the sun was going to set, and he was like, it was just, you know, not the conditions got in the way. So he didn't end up completing it, but he had so much info and so many helpful things, and he really like was an integral part of the process. Got it.
And who is your boat captain and your other crew?
So that was Mike Twig Smith. He was the boat captain, and along with Mike Scott, and they like kind of switched off just because, you know, it's so long. Yes. They can't stay awake that long. And then I had 3 kayakers, and then I also had my mom on the boat feeding me as she was violently ill.
Yes. Oh, that's a mother's love coming through. Yeah.
No.
Before we get to all the channel swim, just enlighten me on your mother and how here she is. I mean, truly violently ill, and but she's not leaving your side, not for a
Yeah.
second.
She told me that if I ever do anything like that again, my sisters are going to be the ones on the boat. She's not
Uh,
coming.
did
She
she
said that
get
she'll
sick
worry
right
from
away?
shore. What was that?
Did she get sick right away, or what was the?
Within the first 2 hours,
Oh
because
no.
the waves were huge on the first channel between Maui and Molokai.
Uh,
Like we had probably like 4 foot waves, and the boat, it's not moving. It like goes
yeah.
100 yards ahead of me, and then it stays there for a little while, and it like moves again.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just started like throwing up. I think 2 hours in, and then literally 12 hours later, she was still like after we had gotten off the boat, after I completed the swim, she was still throwing up.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Now, did you see her vomit as you were swimming along, or did she go the other
Once,
side?
once or twice.
Oh my God. So now, so set up. You had discussions with your crew. How did you decide to start on Maui? What was the strategy behind that?
I just kind of like trusted Mike,
Uh-huh.
and I figured I didn't know enough about the currents, and I knew that no matter which way we picked, I was going to make it, just because like I had it locked in my mind. Once I got into the water, I was not getting out until I was back on the third island.
Got
So
it.
I was like, it doesn't really matter which one we start on. If it takes me, 15 hours, it takes me 15 hours. If it takes me 40 hours, it takes me 40 hours. But like,
Wow.
I knew that whichever one we started on, it would work out.
Got it. So, okay, so you start off on Maui and you
Yeah.
head to Molokai. Describe that. Obviously, they're big waves, and I know when the Hawaiian locals say it's 4 foot waves, everybody else probably says it's 8 to 12 foot waves.
Yeah. I know. When I was like, as I was swimming, I was thinking, these waves have to be 12 feet. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're 4.
Yeah.
But I remember like the first 20 minutes were amazing. Like I was just really happy to be in the water. I'm like, wow, here we go. Like it's starting. And then I started freaking out after 20 minutes then all of a sudden.
Right.
Cause I'm like, yeah, I think I had a little panic attack, and I was like, oh my goodness, how long am I going to be in the ocean for? Like I just got in. What if I start like, what if something happens right now and I can't do it? And I was like, okay, calm down, Becca. So I like talked myself out of that, and then like just started singing songs in my head. And I was also like a little bit worried I was going to feel seasick. So I kind of felt seasick for the first 2 hours. I don't know if it was in my head. It may have been. And I was just like, okay, I just need to get to the first island. Once I get to the first island, it's fine. Like then I'll just get to the second one. So I think that like having those little milestones, like having
Got it.
the next island to look at, like it put everything into, I chunked the race. That's what I call
Yeah.
it. Like went into chunks.
Got it.
So I was like, just complete the first chunk and then reevaluate. So after like about 3 hours of not feeling great, like not mentally there,
Uh-huh.
then I was like, you know what, this is fun. Like I'm in the middle of the ocean, and I'm gonna make it. Because
Yeah.
at that point I'd gone like around, I was well over a 10K 3 hours in.
Okay.
So
At what
it was, like,
time did you start? What was it? What was your starting at the time of the day?
it was 1 p.m.
1
So I
p.m.
started at 1 p.m. and then I finished at 10 a.m. the next day.
Got it. And at 1 p.m. the day one, was it your typical tropical sun, warm, hot, blue?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
beautiful. Just
Got it.
like amazing weather, not a cloud in the sky.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I really enjoyed it after the first 3 hours.
Okay.
And, so like from hour 3 to 4, I landed on Molokai 4 hours in.
Got it.
That was just like really fun. They also told me that I might be getting the record from Maui to Molokai.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't,
Okay.
but I had that in my head, so I kind of sped up a little bit too. I'm like,
Got
oh,
it.
maybe I can get this record too on top
Yes.
of the other one.
Oh, so
yeah,
you set the record from Maui to Molokai.
I didn't end up doing that, no.
didn't? Okay,
But I
okay.
thought I was. They
Got
told
it.
me that I might be. I was
Got it.
pretty close.
Got
So
it. Okay.
I'm like, okay, I need to sprint for a half hour now.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, so then we got to Molokai, and I spent 8 minutes there.
Okay.
And
Were
just
you
like,
on a sandy beach, or was it rocky? Where did you
it was in
land?
someone's backyard, I think. It was very strange.
Yeah.
But I had a little snack. I had some bread, which
Okay.
was a mistake because I ended up like throwing up that bread for the
Okay.
next 7 hours. So
Okay.
that was the only solid food that I had the whole time.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but on Molokai, I like just put a lot of lanolin on.
Okay.
and switched out my goggles because I was wearing like dark small goggles that I usually wear in the pool, and then I like put on bigger goggles so when my eyes swelled up it wouldn't cause problems.
Yeah.
And clear goggles too. And they also had a light on the back because the sun was going to be setting pretty soon.
Okay.
So yeah, then I got back in, and I remember the moment I got back in, I was like, oh, that break did not help me because my arms hurt then after like their 8 minute rest.
Yeah.
And on top of that, also the current. I could suddenly feel the current.
Oh, really?
The current
okay.
Trying to push me back to Molokai for that entire next leg.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I had 10 hours of like just a huge current pushing me back towards Molokai.
Were the ocean swells pushing against you too, or was it just
No, the ocean swells were at my back.
Okay.
Actually, they were like crashing on me in the middle of the night even.
Really? Okay.
But the current was really strong going from Lanai to Molokai.
Got it.
So I was just going directly against it.
Got it. And your kayakers were at your side the whole time?
Yes. Actually, Shelly, so one of my kayakers, Shelly, she was toppled by a wave at one point.
No way.
Yeah. Like that's how big the waves were.
Oh,
and,
wow.
There was one point where I got really mad too, because I felt like we weren't taking the right course, just in like my
in your head
anger. Yeah, I was just mad. I just needed to be mad, and I wanted to be alone. So I ended up swimming away from the boat, which probably wasn't smart. It was like the dead of a night.
No way.
There are no lights anywhere. I'm in the middle of the ocean. And I'm like, I'm not going that way.
So I know Shelly's Australian, correct?
Yes.
So she's really a water woman. I mean, she knows the ocean.
Yeah. She said that this is the first time that she's ever fallen out of her kayak.
Yes. Yeah. So wait a sec. So you're swimming away from these people who are making you angry. What steered you back, or did they go up and catch you, or what was it? How'd you resolve that situation?
This is another me being bratty.
Yeah.
I figured I'm like, they're not going to go anywhere without me. Like, they're not just going to go away from me. So like, I figured I was in charge. I'm like, I have the power here. They're going to come back to me. And that worked for a little while. There were a few times where like, they just were like, okay, fine. Like, we're just going to go with her. We're like going to need to get her back into good spirits here. Because this was about, I would say 15 hours. No, not quite 15. I would say that I'd been on the second leg for 7 or 8 hours. So 12 hours total.
Got it.
Dead of night. Like, honestly, it was really beautiful and like a really, so actually I'm going to go back to like when I had just left Molokai. So we had like an amazing sunset, and I was really excited for the sun to set because I had never been night swimming in my life. Okay. Well, in the middle of the ocean anyways. Yeah. So, I was really excited for that. And then we got a beautiful sunset, and then the moon hadn't risen yet because it was still behind Maui, and there was not a cloud in the sky, and all of the stars came out. And it was just the most amazing experience ever. And like, I love the ocean. I was in the middle of the ocean, like all by myself in my natural habitat with all of these stars. I felt like I could reach up and touch them. Wow. And then the bioluminescence with every stroke too. Wow. So it was just like an amazing experience, and I was so grateful. I remember like, as I was swimming, I was like, this is what it's like to be alive. Like, this is the best moment of my life. And I was like, just really grateful, really happy, and like really excited to be in the middle of the ocean. And that lasted for a few hours, actually. Like, I would say maybe 3 hours. So those were like the best 3 hours of the swim.
Got it. Now, at that point, your shoulders and everything, nothing ached. Maybe you had a little upset stomach, but nothing was aching at that point, correct?
Yeah, I mean, my elbows hurt a little bit, and like my arms were sore, but it wasn't anything that like I couldn't get through. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're swimming away from your boat, and they're dealing with you. And then
so this was when I was in good spirits. I wasn't swimming away yet. I was still on the right course, but it was when I figured I was about halfway like to Lanai when I asked them like, how far have I come? It had been like, I would say 4 hours. And they were like, you've done like a 10K. And I was like, are you kidding me? I've been in here for 4 hours. Like, I can do a 10K in 2 hours.
Yes.
This should have been 20K. I should be close to Lanai at this point.
Yes.
And that was when they were like, yeah, the currentts really picked up, and you're barely moving. So then I started asking, then that was like when my peace was shattered right then.
Got it.
Then I was all of a sudden like, my mood went from like, this is great, this is the best thing ever, to what do you mean I've only done a 10K? So, so I would feed every 20 minutes. And so like I went for 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to try to go like 1,000 in these 20 minutes. Like, let's see if I can get 1,000 meters under my belt in 20 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I can definitely do that. Like, that's no big deal. And then I asked them at the next feed, I'm like, how far have I gone? And they're like 400 meters.
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
And that was when I started swimming away from the boat.
To put this in perspective, what is your best 1,500 meter time or 800 meter time? Just so people understand it.
My best 800 meter time is an 8:21.
8:21. Okay.
Yeah. So I should have been like, it should have taken me 5 minutes to do that 400, not 20.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get out of that funk in between Molokai and Lanai?
I just I was like, I just need to get to the next feed. I'm just going to get to the next feed. Cause at that point I was like, I've come so far. Like I've been swimming for 12 hours. Like I'm not going to stop at this point.
Right.
So I was just mad, and I like kind of let myself be mad because it felt good to be mad. Yeah. So, I just kept swimming and was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going. And whenever I get there, I get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then, we reached a point when I had about 5 kilometers left to go, where all of a sudden, like, I asked how far I had gone in the 20 minutes, and then suddenly I was going 1,000 meters in 20 minutes.
Okay. Got it.
So like the current, I got out of that current, after about 20K of swimming against it. And then I got out on Lanai.
Okay. And where did you land on Lanai? Another person's backyard, or?
No, actually, there's like a pretty big reef around Lanai. Okay. So we had to land at Club Lanai, which is where they start
the Maui Channel
race every year.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was actually a light that somebody from Lanai had set up on the pier there. So we knew like where to come in, because it's pitch black there, because you know there are no people on that side of the island. So
yes.
Yeah, I was just like going towards this little blinking light.
Okay.
And then when I landed there, I spent 9 minutes there, and I did a suit change.
Okay.
I'd been wearing like a racing suit just because that doesn't like chafe my shoulders. And I changed into a practice suit then.
Got it.
And I kind of regretted that, because the practice suit like just ended up chafing a ton. So that part wasn't great, but yeah.
Why do you think the practice suit chafed, but you use it in your 3-4 hour pool practices all the time? What was it?
Yeah, I think it's just the salt water.
Got it.
Like,
okay.
It's just a little different for some reason. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I had my suit change, and then I got back in. And then once I got back in, that was when my arms really started bothering me. Because I remember, like even before I got in, I looked at the water and I was like, this is the last thing I want to do. Like, I do not want to get back into this ocean.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. Like if I did this in 6 hours when I was 10, I could do it in 4 hours now.
Little did you know.
Little did I know. No. It's going to take me 7.5 hours.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Now, at what point did you see the sunrise?
I was about halfway back to Maui when it started rising.
Now,
yeah, because I landed there at around 3 a.m.
Okay.
In Lanai. Lanai like was 3 a.m. and then 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Finished.
So that sunrise must have been, I mean, describe what sunrise was when you were swimming.
So my haziest moments were during this last leg. Like there are parts that I don't really remember. I remember the sun rising and being happy that it was rising, because that meant that I was almost done. And I could like kind of see Maui getting closer instead of like just the lights that were all there. So I liked that, but other than that, I was just like, okay, the sun's up.
Okay.
Keep swimming, another stroke.
Yes.
Yeah, and also I remember I had a big fight with everybody on the boat at that point too, before the sun rose. And that was when I really started swimming away at that point, and the boat didn't come after me. So I had gotten away with swimming away from the boat, like on the previous channel. Yeah. And I felt like we were going too far left. So I just wanted to swim straight there. And I felt like we were aiming for Molokai. And again, this is me just being delirious. So I started swimming like just straight for Maui, and the current was again taking me. I don't know where it was taking me, but I was like, it's taking me towards Maui. This is where I'm going. Yeah. And the boat will follow me. So I started swimming straight, and again, in the dead of night. And this time the kayak didn't come with me. It was Shelly who was on the kayak. They were done with me at this point. Shelly started going with the boat, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if the kayak's not with me. Like, I can make it to Maui without feeding.
You were delirious.
I know. I literally was just delirious. And so I swam like for 5 minutes on my own with no kayak, no boat. And then finally, like, Shelly came back and she cut me off and she's like, Becca, you're not going to make it to Maui unless you come with me. And I like just stared at her and I was thinking, should I just go for it? Like, should I just keep on swimming? I'm like, okay, you're being stupid. Like, you don't know what's going on right now. You don't know anything about the ocean. Like, you need to go. So the rational part of me, like, talked to my irrational, angry side. And I swam back for the boat. And good thing I did, because who knows where I'd probably still be swimming right now.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And so,
yeah, so
our audience may not realize this, but this is a triangle swim, basically. And
yes.
so, I mean, literally you could see the islands. I mean, in the middle of all of these channels, you can see the other islands. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, that doesn't seem like the right one I'm supposed to be going towards.
Yeah. And at what point in the last Maui channel, the channel and heading toward Maui, did you realize, oh, I got this in the bag. This is it. I know I'm there.
I knew that actually on Lanai. So once I was on Lanai, I was like, it's just one channel. I did it when I was 10. I can do it now. Like, it's not going to be a big deal. It'll be over in 4 hours. If someone had told me that it was going to take me 7 hours, I know that, like, I still would have been able to do it, but I would have been really mad, and that would have taken a lot of, again, I was just angry at the world at that point. And I know that it would have taken a lot of, like, mental energy, but, yeah, I knew, like, when I was on Lanai that I was going to make it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, at this point, your mother's still violently ill?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know. She like couldn't sit up. She couldn't, like, put her head down. She, like, had to lay down and then, like, do it without looking at it, like, figure out the feeds without looking, and then, like, just throw it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know, it was not good.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her.
Did you see any sea life when you were there?
Yes, I did. Lots of jellyfish. I was stung probably, like, around 20 times.
Okay.
10 to 20 times. Nothing was too bad, though. There were only, like, 2 or 3 really bad ones.
Okay.
I saw a turtle, saw lots of fish.
Okay.
No sharks, so that was good. Other than in the middle of the night, like, sometimes I'd see, like, trails of bioluminescence under me. And I'm like, I wonder if that's something that's swimming under me. But thankfully, I'm not, like, afraid of sharks. I feel like you're either afraid of them or you aren't. And I was just, like, lucky enough to not have that fear.
Got it.
So I was like, if there's a shark, like, there is, I don't think that it's going to hurt me. Would have done that by now.
And did you had the shark shield with you? Did Shelly have that on?
Yeah, she had that on. So she had, like, it's this long, like, shocker that hangs from the bottom of the kayak. So that was hanging on the bottom of the kayak.
Okay.
They said that before we even started, they told me that they had never done a channel swim without seeing a shark at night.
Okay.
So I was expecting to see one. I was, like, prepared, and I knew that if I saw one, like, it would be fine, and I'd just handle it and, you know, be flexible.
Yeah. And then I saw a picture of you finished on Maui. You had this big, huge, radiant smile. What was your feeling when you finally touched the shoreline?
I was happy to be on land. So, like, the last 5K of the swim, I was in really good spirits. I was like, because the current finally died down and, like, the waves died down and the water was glassy, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, nothing's pushing me away anymore. I could see the buildings getting closer. I was barely moving, but that didn't matter. I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it takes me another 4 hours to do this 5K, then it does. But, like, I'll get there eventually. So I was really excited about that. And then I got onto the land, and I was just really happy that I didn't have to get back. Well, actually, I did have to get back in the ocean to swim to the boat, but I was just really relieved that I didn't have to swim any longer.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
How did your body feel after that? Sore,
surprisingly okay, actually. So my throat was, like, the biggest problem. It was just like within 9 hours, like, I couldn't breathe through my nostrils anymore because, like, they were swollen from the salt water. And my biggest problem at the end was that I was worried that my throat was going to close up from the salt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my throat really hurt at the end, and
Uh,
like the chafing really hurt too. But
yeah.
other than that, like my elbows were having problems, and like my arms, I couldn't lift them above my head. But if
Okay.
like I just kept them at my side, it was fine. So
Got it.
that wasn't bothering me too much. It was mostly just the throat and the chafing.
Got it.
And even like an hour after the swim, when I was like in my, oh, and the other thing was that my hair was knotted on top of my head.
Oh,
It was one big knot, and it took me 40 minutes in the shower with conditioner to get it out. So yeah, I was like relieved to be on shore, and then the boat took us back to where we were staying, my mom and I. And I jumped back in the water because I had to like go back in the water to get back on the shore where we were dropped off.
right.
And immediately, like everywhere I chafed started burning. It was like I was on fire. So I ran home and I left my mom with all my stuff. She's still throwing up. I was being a real brat that day. And then I remember I just like hopped in the shower and like tried to get the knot out of my hair, and I couldn't swallow. I lost my voice for a few hours after that. I remember I like called some people and I couldn't talk because my throat was again like so swollen. My face was really swollen too. So I couldn't swallow anything. So I like tried to eat something and I couldn't like eat anything because my throat wasn't working. And even like drinking, I had to like drink really slowly, and like every swallow was painful.
Got it.
So that was like the most difficult thing right after. And also my mom, so we got back and she like immediately just went to sleep for like, I think she slept for over 24 hours after that. She was just so sick. Just waking up a few times to go and throw up. Yeah, so then I didn't end up sleeping after either. Like I know that people usually like go right to sleep, but it was 10 a.m. I ended up napping at like 5 p.m., but I like really wasn't tired. I napped for 2 hours, and then everyone's like, oh, you're gonna sleep for like 2 full days after that. And I only slept for 9 hours the night after. So
Okay.
yeah, and then I woke up and I felt pretty good.
Wow.
the next day.
Wow. And just mind-boggling to me, 2 weeks after that, you're on Oahu, another island, doing the Waikiki rough water swim. Like
Yes.
nothing happened.
It's actually really funny because my mom and I, we were leaving the next day. My dad was actually there up until he had to go home because like we weren't really certain of when this one was going to happen with the weather. So he ended up leaving for the airport right as I was leaving the island
Oh, okay.
for the swim. He gets really seasick too, and he knew that. So he didn't end up like, he wasn't going to stay for the boat. So he flew home and he landed in Chicago while I was still on the second channel. But my mom and I, we were leaving for the airport the next day, and we looked at the ocean, and my mom said to me, she's like, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to look at the ocean and not feel sick again. And I was like, me too. Which is kind of funny. But yeah, a week and a half later, I was back in Oahu, and this was actually my first time swimming since the channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
I did 100 meters 2 days after, just to see how I felt, and my elbows still really hurt. So I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna swim. And yeah, I felt great. I felt fantastic in the water, which is strange.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was
So
a good time though.
22, a record holder, a pioneer, a screenwriter, a published author. I mean, what's next?
So right now I went back to school a week after that channel swim actually.
At USC,
And,
University
yes,
of
at
Southern
USC.
California.
Yes, and jumped right back into my screenwriting classes, and it was really fun. I got a new cohort because our major is really small, and they're usually only like 20 people per year. So
Very highly selective, I understand.
yeah, and everyone's really brilliant there. So like I got a new cohort and got a lot of new like perspectives, and it was so much fun. And I've been focusing on that a lot. Like I wrote a feature actually about leprosy in Hawaii in the 1800s, the leper colony that's on Molokai. So I ended up like writing a movie about that, which was weird. I don't know. I just have this weird connection to Hawaii, I guess. And yeah, I've just been writing a lot and focusing on what'll come after swimming, because I love writing, and that's my other passion. My passion that is just as great as my passion for swimming. So just been focusing on all these different worlds that I want to write about, which has been so much fun.
Great. Do you ever foresee incorporating your experiences in Hawaii or Thailand, or when you're in the ocean with your future books, your future screenplays?
I think so. Actually, when I was outlining the novel that I'm writing now, this dystopian novel, I was originally going to do a fantasy about like my swimming career. Only instead of like swimmers, there were warriors. And I started outlining it, and then something just like wasn't clicking. I didn't have it fully figured out yet. But I feel like that'll come eventually.
Got it.
It just what I wasn't ready for it right now, I guess.
Oh, wow.
But maybe in like 10 years.
Got it. Got it. Do you have a website or something where people can follow you? I mean,
Oh yeah, I
even-
actually do. It's becca-man.com.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing this
Oh, thank you so
unbelievable
much,
journey.
Steve. Like this was a great time.
Yes. Thank you. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.